I'm making plays. I'm making hits. I'm making plays. I never miss. Haters gon' hate. Yeah, they gon' hate. But look at the clips. Just look at the clips. At the end of the day, I was made for this shit, dog. I was made for this shit. Nothing but green grass in my view. Hit him for 50 yards up the middle. All of my rushes are ready to move. Tell your quarterback, head on the swivel. Came all this way, so we hungry as hell. If we ain't winning, we ain't leaving the field. Overtime, now the shit getting real. Double overtime, shoot for the kill. I put it all on my shoulders. Give 100 till it's over. All of this ice in my veins, tell me, how could there be anyone colder?
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to Arrowhead PM, powered by, you guessed it, Chiefs Kingdom. We are coming off of a very interesting, topic-filled, quite possibly annoying weekend, but a victory Monday nonetheless, a victory week nonetheless, as we prepare for the 7th annual Arrowhead Invitational in Kansas City as we take on the Buffalo Bills. A lot to talk about, but obviously we got my man DG, we got my man Ethan, and we got my man Corey to talk about the Chiefs today. There is a ton to talk about, but we got to start off with the game that already happened that I kind of alluded to. The Chiefs in the divisional round hosted the Houston Texans, and we won 23-14. If you were a bettor, you were sweating probably the whole last couple of minutes. Thank God I got that minus 8.5. But yeah, but interesting game. Fun fact: the Texans outgained the Chiefs by 100 yards. They are the first team in NFL history to outgain their opponent by 100 yards and have 0 turnovers and lose the football game. Obviously, there is a lot of discussion for this game that has nothing to do with the play on the field, nothing to do with a guy that we're going to love talking about that is a mainstay of greatness when it comes to the postseason. No, it's about other things, and we'll get to that. But we're going to start off with my man, Ethan. Ethan, what were your main thoughts of our victory, the Chiefs beating the Texans in Arrowhead to start off the divisional weekend? Yo, Ethan, I don't think we hear you.
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's every game. Steve Spagnuolo, he calls a masterclass. Just week in and week out, and can't be more grateful to have him here in Kansas City. Hopefully he can stay around. One thing I do want to kind of discuss a little bit is that, that 100-yard discrepancy that everybody seems to be going off of, and how the Texans supposedly done whatever they wanted against us. Start the game, Nico, got to give him a shout out. Had the 65-yard plus kick return. That's going to affect your yards in a game. They're not looking at those yards. They're not looking at stuff like that. So that's a bogus stat. I hate it. I hate when people run with that shit because it doesn't actually give context to how the game actually went. So that's just kind of a pet peeve that's been going around this week. Between that and the refs, it is what it is. So all we got to do is this week go out there and show what the Chiefs are and what they have been the past 7 years, at this point. So eliminate their greatness.
100%. Corey, my man at Midwest Sports. Was there any thoughts that you had, especially based off of what you saw? Is there anything that was glaring to you, whether it be by the Texans or by our Chiefs this past weekend?
I was a little surprised on the lack of usage of Hollywood Brown and D-Hop. I think maybe we saw what worked against the Texans last time, knew we didn't need to show a whole lot with them, and maybe unload them during the Bills game, give them something that hasn't been seen all season. But I was surprised at the lack of usage and the lack of snaps that especially D-Hop had. On the defense, did we have TJ Watt wearing 56 in our defensive line this week because, man, Karlaftis was in that backfield almost every snap. Like, he took it to a whole nother level. Like, we talk about playoff Frank Clark. Maybe we need to talk about playoff Karlaftis. Because he's already, in just a couple years, second on the team in playoff sacks. I think we moved on from a playoff Shark to playoff Karlaftis.
He's 3.5 behind Frank
for all-time Chiefs leader. And he's only done 2 full postseasons. So he's done 2 1/3 postseasons, and he already has 7 sacks. Now, granted, it took this game to even get to 7, but the way that he's been playing lately, it's been fantastic. And we'll go into the film for that. But DG, what about you, man? We saw this defense step up. There are going to be names that we're going to be mentioning all weekend. Was there anyone on that defense? Because I feel like this was a showcase for the guys that weren't able to play the full season and show up and show out, like Charles Menahue, like George Karlaftis. I know all year you've been calling out Furious George to be better, and damn did he sure step up. What do you think?
Defensively, I mean, I think a lot of guys in this game made a huge impact. I think it all really starts with your leaders. Guys like 95, Chris Jones. He set the tone from the beginning. Got the first sack, and then it was like an avalanche after that. It seemed like everybody kind of wanted to get in on the party. But credit to the guys, the little guys that do the stuff that goes unnoticed or goes not as highly praised. Duffy had an amazing game. Lights out, lockdown. Really, I think all the corners in this game, really kind of stepped up, did what they had to do. Jalen Watson coming back from injury, playing 40 snaps, it's not easy as well. So for him to step back on the field and have an impact, you saw the kind of difference it makes having him there, being able to cover for a little bit longer, allowing that pass rush to get home and get cooking. And then I think FAU, in my opinion, a lot of people don't talk about him, really stepped up. Only had 6 snaps, but in those 6 snaps, he made huge impacts. I think he had 2 tackles for a loss and a sack in this game. So every time he got into the game, he was trying to do whatever he can to make a play. So defensively, man, I really think they went out there and imposed their will. I think they knew they had the advantage as far as the offensive line and what the Texans had kind of been all year. A little leaky at points and times, I would say, in the run game, but I kind of expected that with the Texans having Joe Mixon. And I think that third quarter drive was probably their longest drive of the day or whatever, where they absorbed some clock. But thought the Chiefs weathered the storm, flew that pretty well. I think that's the only touchdown they gave up on the day. So, yeah, man, they played amazing defensively. Offensively, I think they did enough to win. I think the execution could have been a little bit better offensively. That's why I think going into this week, that'll be a point of emphasis for that offense. I know that they're happy with the win, but I know they're probably not thrilled about their performance per se, especially from probably the receiver end or whatever. But that's sometimes how the game has ebbs and flows, and it's just kind of how it goes. I think once they realized that the Texans were just gonna leave Travis Kelce but booty naked open, they really patting them just kind of locked in on that. It was just like, look, we're just gonna go here until they decide that they want to start guarding Travis Kelce again, and they obviously decided not to do that for the whole night. So, he burned them and got, I think, over his 7th career 100-yard game or something.
9th career postseason 100-yard game, most in NFL postseason history.
Crazy, man. So yeah, I thought the offense was efficient when it needed to be. I thought they ran the ball well when they needed to run the ball well. Kareem Hunt really stepped in. especially late. He seems to be becoming that finisher for them to kind of put games away. And he really helped ice that game for them late in the game, especially on the run that I'm still going back and look at the film. Like, I still don't know how he got through that hole, but got skinny through Tooney and Kelsey and was able to, rumble for about 12 yards and pick up a first down, which was really key and crucial to kind of ice the clock. So, yeah, both sides of the ball, I think, all three phases, really, in a sense. That's the reason why the Chiefs won the game. All three phases played better, in my opinion, than the Texans. They can outgain you at points and times, or they can have more yards than you, but it all comes down to little, small, minor details in games that the Chiefs just don't make mistakes on. They're not late out of the huddle when they're going for it on 4th and 10. They're not missing extra points. They're not missing field goals. They're not getting field goals blocked. They're not having dumb penalties that cost them the game at points and times. Knowing your opponent, knowing who you're facing. It's just little things like that are reasons why the Chiefs are champions and other teams aren't. So, yeah, credit to Andy Reid and his staff, man, for always having them guys ready. And I think you'll see the same result this Sunday.
100%. Before we go into some of my favorite plays of the game to show y'all, and we can analyze that, I think we got to talk about the elephant in the room. And it's not really an obvious elephant. It's an elephant that was repeated maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times in the post game press conference for some of these players. Will Anderson. We knew as we came in, it's not just the Chiefs that we're facing. You're facing more than just the Chiefs when you're in Arrowhead. Joe Mixon, a guy very familiar with playing an Arrowhead when it matters. It's not just us versus them. It's us versus everybody. Head coach, D'Amico Ryans, the head coach. You would have thought this was Nick Sirianni. The head coach himself. It was us versus everybody. That was the whole, we knew that coming in. Even CJ Stroud has even mentioned to a degree about the refs. And I think the biggest takeaway from that is they lost before they even played the game.
Yep.
How? Sure, I think this is much more of a detriment. I don't care about, Will Anderson played his ass off. He played really well in that game. Joe Mixon, he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing sometimes. And he has a history of talking that talk, whether he's in Cincinnati or in Houston. But I feel like this is the biggest detriment to D'Amico Ryans, who's been a great head coach so far, has gotten them 2 playoff wins, has gotten them to the divisional round. But to literally have that quote out there as a head coach, like, if you're telling the team this is what's going to happen, how about you coach the team to make sure that you're not trying to sack Mahomes near the face area? How about you don't, take baits to see Mahomes kind of dancing to get a flag? How about you do that? How about you be smart? How about you don't get sacked 8 times and have a playoff performance by I was about to call him Curious George, by Furious George, to have an all-time playoff game? How about you don't go for it on 4th and 10? Or how about, a game plan that I think everybody has thought of when facing the Chiefs? How about you pay attention to quite possibly the greatest playoff weapon in the history of the NFL, instead of allowing him to be wide butt-ass naked, like DG said, to get and his old ass run into the 5-yard line, the longest play of the season, and he got them on broke 3 tackles. He didn't do much to break the tackles, and he still cooked you. How about that? So, if anything, and I like D'Amico Ryans, but to even quote that, just goes to show that the Texans weren't for real. They were just happy to be there. We were going to lose to the Chiefs anyway. This is great for us. Another playoff win. CJ loses to who, everybody loses to Mahomes. This isn't going to hurt us. That's loser mentality. So I don't want to hear nothing from Texans fans about bullshit ref calls. I don't want to hear anything about that. Because if that was the mentality that you had coming into the game, that it's us versus everybody, and you quote that and all your players are quoting that, I can't take that. I can't take you seriously. So I hope something changes next year. Because if this is going to be if this is going to be the Bengals light, it's not going to work out in your favor, brother. It's not going to work out.
I'm going to defend Joe Mixon a little bit here. At this point, he's still on Bengals time, and he's used to being in Cancun already, so he's just cranky.
Yeah, man. Look, I think it's what you said for sure, Dom. If that's your mentality, the whole week of you preparing for this game, you lost. You lost before you even got on the plane. That lets me, I hate speaking bad about teams, but I could tell they weren't really ready and prepared for this game by the way you celebrate the previous game. When you're in the locker room smoking the cigars, and I understand what Rex Ryan said and things of that nature. Yeah, use all that stuff as motivation. It's a bye week for the Chargers and all that. I understand using all of that. Just the reaction of it just kind of felt like, this was our season. This was it. This is our time. This is our time to shine. Everybody thought we was gonna lose, and we didn't. We went out there and blew the Chargers out, which I give them all credit for. They kicked the Chargers' ass. But it just goes to me to show that mentally you knew it's gonna take perfect football to beat this team. It's gonna take perfect football to walk into Arrowhead and beat this team, and to have that mentality that we can't beat ourselves. And literally from the first whistle, that's exactly what you did. You give up a huge kick return. You don't fall on the ball once it's fumbled. You're the guy who forces the fumble, gets up celebrating, throwing his helmet, then pushing his coach. Like it just lets me know mentally you weren't fully locked in. You thought you were, but you weren't.
A little imaginary birdie told me that while the Texans were celebrating in the locker room, Deontay Johnson got mad and was like, "Why the hell are y'all celebrating?" And the owner said, "This is our Super Bowl. Get out of here. You're fired." And they cut him.
Oh wow, See, now if that's the case, then I understand Deontay Johnson being at her. But this play goes to show you, not finish. First of all, you don't finish the play. You're always taught that if you see the ball out, jump on the ball. Even if you're the guy that forces fumble, But immediately you get up, right, and you're running off the field, arms in the air, things that after you didn't give it up a huge return on this as well too, and you proceed to throw your helmet while you're in the field of play and push your coach while at it. I'm not sure if he was pushing his coach because he was hyped up or what, but either way,
I think it was because he was hyped up a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it was both. I think he was hyped up. The coach was coming over to scold him for throwing his helmet, and so he ran up to the player to try to kind of calm him down. He was hyped up, so it looked worse than what it was.
Yeah. But to me, it just goes to show that mentally you didn't come into this game fully prepared, fully ready to play. Now, granted, I expect the Bills to have a totally different mentality.
100%.
I just think the way that they're coached, the leadership that's there, you expect to see a whole different side of Buffalo in that aspect. You know, there won't be mental mistakes like that. But that's the reason why this is a Houston team that's young. They got a young head coach. They got a very bright future ahead of them. But you can tell mentally they're not ready yet. They're just not there. You know, you're not there right now. And that's okay because eventually at some point these kind of games teach you those kind of lessons. The Chiefs had to. I feel like the Chiefs had to go through stuff like this. You know,
I mean, remember how we were when we won our first playoff game after losing 8 straight?
Yeah, right. Like the Chiefs had to go through this kind of thing too. Is learning how to play in these moments. You know, and sometimes it takes some pain and some suffering to get there. You know, so
100%, 100%.
Gotta stop blaming the refs though, guys. Like just.
Well, we got to quit playing with momentum too.
Yeah.
What we did there at the beginning of the game, you got to be against a team like Buffalo, especially. You got to be able to capitalize and put 7 on the board. You get a big play like that.
Yeah.
You swing the momentum. They stop you for a field goal. That momentum swings right back to them because they feel like they got to stop on that. And a team like Buffalo is a team that you can't let get momentum. If you get momentum, you got to keep it. You got to keep the foot on the throttle. If we get big plays, we got to capitalize by scoring 7. Field goals aren't going to do it. We saw that the first game.
100%. Yeah, it's just with all this ref talk, and you know, were some of the calls kind of iffy.
Correct.
I mean, they were. The one thing I will take away from the whole ref discussion is not like get over it, which I kind of have that opinion. It's more of I'm personally to Mahomes. I don't want that one where it ended up being an unnecessary roughness call where he kind of slid last second.
Mhm.
I don't want him to ever do that again.
Nah.
That is too dangerous. That's not smart football. You could even tell he was just kind of like shifting back and forth and just slid last second. He could have got really hurt real bad. I don't like that. That's the one. And then the sideline thing where it's flopping. People are complaining about the flop. One, it didn't get called. So chill out. All right. You know who else flops? Josh Allen. There's literally videos of it. Every quarterback flops.
Oh,
bro.
montage.
It's a million players in this league that do it.
100%.
You know, look, and honestly, as a former athlete, I would do it too. Look, if you're gonna get up from a pile, right, and there's extracurriculars afterwards, and you lightly tap me, yes, I'm flopping. You know, I'm gonna do whatever I can to get the competitive advantage over you to get that extra 15 yards if I can. That's what it takes. You know, you see basketball players do it all the time.
And I think the main thing is that why people have this thing about the refs and the Chiefs factor. The one thing that really gets people locked into the Chiefs is because they're so good. They're in all the primetime games. You see them in all the big primetime games. So they have the most eyes on them. So people have the most opportunity to criticize every week. It's not like they're playing the 1 p.m. special. Like when Jawan Taylor was a Jag and he has the same freaking thing that he did in Jacksonville. No one gave a shit. Now he's on fucking, the beginning of the season. Chris Collinsworth's like, I can't believe this is happening. No one gave a shit when he was in Jacksonville at the 1 p.m. slot. That's the thing.
Let's just put this crap to rest now. Over the last 100 games, which quarterback has the most roughing the passer penalties against him?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Who has a whole flop montage that's about 4 minutes long going around now?
Number 17.
Exactly.
But we're the only ones that see it. So, at the end of the day,
that man Flipper because he's flopping on the ground like a half-dead fish every game.
When you're the only ones that see it, it is what it is, man. You only see it. You only saw it with your eyes, Corey. We didn't see it. They didn't see it.
We only see with Chiefs colored glasses. Everybody else can see us for the frauds that we are. We're so delusional. We're apologists.
And it doesn't help when you've got a clown like Troy Aikman who openly hates Patrick Mahomes that criticizes everything he does.
It was kind
that
of
man has been that man has been salty ever since he said, "Come back to me when he has 1/3 of the rings I have."
And it took like a third of the time for him to do that.
You know, I posted something on X. You guys can go look at it. Patrick Mahomes' worst season, his stat line is better than Troy Aikman's best season he ever had in his whole career.
Yeah, Troy was a good quarterback, but he
wasn't asked to do much.
Yeah, he was on some great teams. that offensive line. We'll get into all that later. But back to the Chiefs, man.
All right, I got a couple plays that I want to bring up. I think personally, I think in the first half of the game, obviously, like Kelsey had the huge run and everything, but I think the player of the game for the first half, to me, watching the screen and everything, was Charles Omenihu. He was playing his former team. He said some things about his former team in interviews that he was just really excited to face this team specifically. I thought he was a monster. This is the play where he gets to CJ, and he's just a forced fumble machine. Knows how to get his hands on that ball at the right moment. He did against Lamar last year. This just seems to be his signature move. Get to the quarterback and get the ball out of their hands. And this also has to do with great pressure by the great Chris Jones. But to me, that guard had no business. He did not know where to go.
Yeah.
Corey, what do you see from the D line in this play and Charles Omenihu killing it right here? Like, what do you see in this play specifically that highlights just how well the pass rush is finally clicking? You know what I mean?
Who'd you go to? Me?
Yeah, Corey.
To me, it's kind of been, we've been right there all season. But the problem is we've had our defensive ends which have overrun plays, who are spun back inside and put themselves out of the play. This game, I noticed we played a lot better contained. We maintained our gaps. We forced Stroud to step up in the pocket and then collapse the pocket. Before, we were overrunning the pocket to where it looked like we had great pressure, but there were escape routes. If you watch it, look at the pocket right there. The only thing he can do is step up into the pocket and then watch how quick it closes. The pocket's open right there. Step up into it, already gone. It just closes from both sides right into the middle. We're doing a much better job of keeping that pocket where there's no leakage and then being able to collapse it around him to where he has nobody to scramble to. And that's one thing that's going to be key next week, because what's Josh Allen great at? Mm-hmm. Finding that rushing lane to escape the pocket when you get pressure. If we can do that and we can maintain that pocket and make it collapse around him, we can really limit his legs. And that's a key to beating them.
Yeah, it's really all about keeping your rush lane integrity.
Now, one funny thing, watch that play again and watch that guard have to push somebody at the end. He got beat so bad. He got so demasculinized that he had to push somebody like, yeah, I'm bad.
Yeah, keeping rush lane integrity is important in facing any quarterback. And I think the Chiefs over the last probably back half of this season, especially since they've gotten Charles Omenihu back, have made that a real point of emphasis to keep that integrity. It's not necessarily about you getting a sack or you putting up certain numbers. It's just more so of, can we get this guy to step up into the pocket, keep him contained in there, and then maybe have him run into some sacks. And that's why I said going into facing Buffalo this next week, that's going to be extremely important, like Corey said. You got to be able to – it's not necessarily sometimes even about getting there. It's just about keeping him in the pocket, corralling him, and then maybe if he tries to take off, you have somebody there that has that escape lane stopped up and allows you to force him to run into some sacks. And I think that's kind of what they did here against CJ. CJ was able to escape the pocket at points and times a little bit and use his legs to kind of get out there and force some big runs. But I think once he ended up getting hurt, probably midway through the second quarter, I would say, where he banged that knee on the ground or whatever. I think once he that happened, I think his mobility kind of became a detriment to him, and I think Spags then turned up the pressure on him and it just started coming after him, especially on any third and long.
Yeah, man. Just the way that the defensive line was able to get to the quarterback was very impressive. I was gonna highlight the guy that just keeps getting disrespected every year. When it comes to all pros, when it comes to even Pro Bowls. I was gonna highlight our man Trent McDuffie. There was a stat out there that we've been talking about all week when it comes to what Trent McDuffie did to Nico Collins. And Nico Collins, guys, he's a good wide receiver. 6'4", tall, got some speed, has been really clutch for the Texans.
All-pro wide receiver this year.
All pro indeed. And for some reason, my NFL Pro's not working, but I think they lined up against Trent McDuffie, I believe, 24 times and only caught 2 balls for 24 yards. I think that's pretty good.
42 yards. Something
42 yards.
Yeah, he had one big game that they had counted. Yeah, Trent against, but it was like Trent was in the area, but I don't know if he was necessarily guarding him.
I think it was one of those where it was a free release and he had the safety over the top, and it kind of Nico kind of got in between them and caught it in between Trent and the safety. Just good route, good place ball.
Right.
He's just so good.
I think he had more batted balls than he allowed receptions.
Yeah, he did. He had
Which means he run receivers routes for them.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, the one he had on, I think, was on Hutchinson, was probably his best of the day. And he literally just mirrored and ran the route for Hutchinson.
I think there was one sideline one, though, that he could have intercepted if he'd have tried.
Yeah, the one in Nico, yeah. Yeah, he could have picked that off.
He got one hand in there, but if he just got that other hand up, he cut that route so good that, I mean, that ball hit his one hand right here.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, McDuffie is, like I said, I said it on our pod the other night. I'm not gonna hold my tongue about it no more. He's the best corner in the league, if you ask me. I'm sorry. Like, I know Patrick Surtain is up there. I know Derek Stingley. You just faced another top 5 corner in Derek Stingley Jr. A lot of people probably say Sauce Gardner or whatever. But I mean, to me, as far as what you have asked 22 to do for this team, to play the boundary, to play the slot, to blitz, to play and run support, pretty much play every down on defense. It's incredible to see what his versatility, what he means to this defense. He's a cornerstone piece. And I think he's definitely going to be a guy that Brevich is going to have to sit down and talk extension with. You have to, those type of guys, you have to build around, especially when they're that special. And I think Trent McDuffie is deserving of every dollar amount that he gets.
I mean, you could just see the difference in our defense when he went out, had to go in the blue tent early. And then when he come back, I mean, right away, first play back, he gets a PBU. So I mean, that's just who McDuffie has been. And in this defense, like, he's the engine to that secondary. So, man, if we don't pay Trent McDuffie, I'm going to be highly disappointed.
Like glue, man. Like this play, is indicative of how good he really is, man. Patience, the technique, the awareness to know what's coming your way. I mean, he pretty much does it again where he runs the route for the receiver. He runs it better than Nico Collins ran it. You know, it's basically like I don't know if people know, like for guys like Nico Collins who are all pro guys, when you're getting that kind of sticky kind of coverage, that becomes annoying. Just because it's like this dude knows everything I'm about to do, you know. But it just goes to show you how good of a corner he really is. And I'm like I said, I'm sorry. I find me somebody better. You know, I don't know. I don't know if you can.
It's very hard. It's very hard to find that because like just the way that he's been playing and the way that he's executed, I get it. It's sometimes to be a corner is to have flashy stats, right? That's why Sauce is legit considered the best corner sometimes. Pat Surtain, they got interceptions. It took till this year for Trent McDuffie to get interceptions. But if you watch the games like we watch the games and we watch the tape, just him as a presence alone is enough to just see on tape. You know that he just brings it to every wide receiver he faces, whether he's in the slot, whether he takes on the deep threat. Like he's just physical. And I think he learned that as soon as he got in from Veach. He learned that by watching a little bit of what Snead did last year and the year before. Like I know he started off injured in his career, but since he came back from that injury in 2022, he's been locked in. And I think that's been the main difference. A guy that continues to get better and better as the games go on. Literally, Spagnola and what Veach did in that draft specifically. And obviously, we're going to mention another guy who was in that draft that had a career day. And I'm going to bring up each one of those awesome sacks. But man, McDuffie's the real deal. And to have a steal like that in the draft, I think that was the same draft with Sauce Gardner, I believe. Or maybe Sauce was the year before. I can't remember.
Was Sauce in that draft?
Yes.
Yeah. Sauce went like top 10, I think.
Yeah, he went right before, he went early, and then McDuffie was picked up. So here's something too I wanted to kind of mention about McDuffie. He also leads the league in cornerbacks for the first 3 seasons in forced fumbles. So while everybody's talking about interceptions, that's not the only thing that he's done. I mean, he'll get in there, he'll hit somebody, and he'll force that ball out. It's what he's done in Kansas City. I mean, he alone, his downhill tackling is phenomenal. That's one of the main things I think with this secondary, the speed and being able to get downhill and hit somebody. And it starts with him. So, you know, while the interceptions would be nice, yeah, sure. You know, he's got, 2 of them in his career now. You know, you add in those seven forced fumbles. I mean, he's got 9 turnovers already in, 3 seasons. So it's not like he's not forcing turnovers. It's astounding the fact that he was second team All-Pro this year. Don't understand it, never will understand it, you know. And not to take anything away from Stingley and Surtain, you know, they had great seasons as well. But you know, you got a guy like Trent McDuffie, you got to put him up there.
100%, 100%. And I think I think by having Trent as a Chief and as drafting has helped me realize that maybe interceptions is kind of overrated as a stat. I mean, obviously, to get a turnover is huge, and I don't discredit that whatsoever. But if you see the way this guy's playing in general, like it's otherworldly, and I think that's the main difference. I mentioned him earlier. We mentioned him earlier. This is the biggest game of his career. He is now 3.5 sacks away from being the all-time sacks leader. It's our man, Furious George. I'm going to go through each sack And DG, I'm going to go to you because out of all the guys in this space, in this live stream, you have been the most critical of our man, Furious George Karlaftis, but it's tough love.
Yes.
And I think what he did was he took that and used that motivation to have quite possibly the greatest game of his career.
Yes.
And we are going to go through the first, but talk about what George has done since, and since, maybe some of the criticism, and how he's improved a lot, especially over the past couple of weeks.
So personally, I think what the change that he's made over these last back half of this season is to me, I think he's kind of went back to some of his older ways, which is just being relentless, not thinking too much about what technique am I going to use here. Am I going to hand fight? Am I going to bull rush? Am I going to, I think sometimes players can get too much into their head, especially when they try to make adjustments and things like that and work on things in the off season. You get kind of caught up in, let me go out here and try this and see how this works. And let me do this technique because I worked on it all off season, so I might as well try to use it and stuff like that. And I think now you just kind of seen George go back to his old ways, which was, what we saw at Purdue was just that relentless effort. Just any way possible, just be a madman. Get back there any way you can. Another thing too is please don't put a tight end on him. That's so stupid. Like, I'm not sure what Bobby Slowick was thinking or whatever. He did that twice actually. And one time you did it with a tight end and a running back, like that was gonna work too. And it just doesn't. That's a very big mismatch for your offense or whatever. But I think it just kind of goes to show the philosophies of Slowick's scheme, what he likes to do. Obviously, using the tight ends in the passing game. I think there were points in times they wanted to kind of get into those check releases, but George was just there every time. Kind of get CJ on the ground. Man, I think that's been the biggest difference for him. Is just having that relentless effort to get after the quarterback, not thinking too much while you're out there. Just go get him, man. It's simple. At the end of the day, the game is simple. Go out there, make the plays. Been in the corner right here. We also seen him get off. I think he's been getting off the snap a little bit faster too. He's been timing the snap a little bit better as well too than he did in the beginning of the year. But I just think you're kind of see him getting to that point where he's getting hot now, and that's a really good thing. When this whole defensive line starts to get to that point where they're getting hot, like I said, when you get hot, sacks come in bunches, sacks and turnovers come in bunches, and you've been seeing that over this back half of the season. So all credit to George, man. If he was in our spaces at any point in time and heard me talking about him, like Dominic said, it was just tough love, man. I love watching him ball out. But I also knew at some point in time you were going to need 5'6" to step up and be the first round pick that he is, that we drafted. We brought you here to get after the quarterback, and I need you to do your job. And he obviously did it on Saturday, man. It was incredible to watch. So shout out to George, man.
I think two other things to mention there too, though. Also, I mean, you can kind of tell this defense. You can see a big difference when obvious passing downs, and when you're in the playoffs and you're behind, the other team, they're going to tighten up. And so I think this team just starts kind of teeing off on them. And our secondary, man, you got to give a shout out to them too, because there's hardly anybody open on any of these plays that you're showing.
Yeah.
And so when you got good coverage, sticky coverage on the back end, that allows your pass rush obviously more time to get to the quarterback. And, with CJ being hurt, there wasn't nobody going to stop them. So, I mean, just all around great performance from the defense. it was probably one of the biggest defensive games that I've seen from this Chiefs team in a while. I mean,
Can you run
obviously,
that back one more time, Dom?
I don't
Yeah,
know
let
if
me
you
pull it up
got the
real quick.
video of it, Dom, but one of the craziest defensive scheme plays I have ever seen. I was watching it from the sideline, and Roland Wallace came running on the field and acted like he didn't know he was supposed to be on the
Yeah.
or where he was supposed to be. He's going like this. Everybody's yelling at him like
Mhm.
this. And as soon as they snap it, everybody blitzes.
Yeah.
And it caught the
Yeah.
offense so off guard because they thought they were not ready. And the
Mhm.
next thing you know, you've got an 8-man pressure, and we got to CJ almost immediately.
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say in this play right here, this is gonna be super important. This is why Charles Omenihu being back on this defensive line is important. Understanding your assignment and what you're supposed to do on this, not trying to be a hero. Just go ahead and roll it. Obviously, George and Chris get wider. Against the tackles. George obviously gets a mismatch in Dalton Schultz, which I don't know why. I still don't know why the life of me Bobby Slowick thought that was a good idea. But obviously you get it, upfield. But for Charles Omenihu's effect to keep his contain and not allow that rush lane or not allow that space for CJ to step back up into the pocket, and George just collapses the pocket. So I think them getting back on Minihue has really helped tremendously. I didn't think one player on this, one player could make such a huge impact, but he's definitely done that since he's been back. And I think it's more just so of how well he knows this playbook. He knows what to do, where to be, and it gives other guys around him confidence now to know, like, if I get my one-on-one, I have to win my one-on-one. And I think that's what George knew. Every time they lined Dalton Schultz up on him, I think he knew, look, this is a mismatch, and I better beat him.
Imagine the defensive game plan is like, all right, on this play, guys, I want you to double team Tershawn Wharton and Charles Omenihu, and then Dalton, do your best, stop George, and let Chris go one-on-one as well. What kind of...
It shows respect to Turk Wharton, man. I mean, you would never think that he would get a double team in this, but literally what they opted to. And I mean, although Chris Jones is going up against Larry Tunsil, who's arguably one of the better tackles in this league, probably a top 5 tackle in this league. So I felt like they probably felt pretty confident if he had to match up one-on-one with Chris Jones that he could handle his own. But it just goes to show you that Dalton Schultz should never be left on an island by himself with one of the better pass rushers in the league in George Karlaftis. Bad game.
Did you happen to get that play? Did you happen to get that?
Is that the one where Justin Reed is basically was right there? Is that the play you're talking about?
It's Christian Roland Wallace runs on the field real late. They made a late substitution. He literally looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's screaming, and you can kind of tell and see CJ Stroud and them were like, okay, they don't know what they're doing. Let's go quick so we can get a snap off or whatever and get them out of position. And it didn't work that way.
And the funny thing is, as soon as they snapped, Roland Wallace slid over to the cornerback slot. The quarterback blitzed, a safety blitz, Bolton blitzed, and we just had 8 people in the backfield. Honestly, it caught the O-line more off guard than it did the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Was it with Chris? Do you know who got the sack?
I don't know if it resulted in a sack. I think it might have resulted.
No, it did.
I'm not sure who got the sack then.
I'll try to
find CJ sack, or if it was.
It might have been CJ sack.
Let me look. There was
it was early in the game for sure. I know that for sure.
Let's see. I'll bring that up. I think I have it right here. Let's look. I'll try to get a sideline view so that we see it. But I mean, you're just, and we're gonna talk about another guy before we go more in depth about our AFC Championship game. But man, just everything was executing at the right time, and it just goes to show just like that persistence and just what Spags has been drilling into these players' heads works. And I think that's been the main difference, is just like understanding that, it takes a team effort to be this great. It's not a one-man show. I think Pacheco said in a press conference recently that
No I in
you know,
team.
there's no I in team. There is a me in team, but just don't let them know that.
You're right.
But I gotta say, just like everybody just working together in tandem. Oh, Trizzy, what up, man?
Yeah, I had to sneak in, sneak attack real quick. What's going on, Cheese Kingdom? What's up, fellas?
What's going on, brother?
What's going on? What's going on, man? I appreciate y'all holding me down, man. I had a basketball game tonight. Had to coach the guys up. So I'm back. I'm here.
The youth always comes first, brother.
Man, come on, you know it. What we into?
Are we sitting here
So
talking?
we're talking about this play with Christian Roland Wallace, where they basically it was a Chris Jones sack.
Yeah,
right
you want to
here.
know? You want to know something about this play that I seen on Twitter? They was acting like they was confused on purpose.
Yeah, that's what we was just talking about.
Yeah.
I was confused because I was like, he don't know what he doing. Why is he out there? What? It worked, man. Shout out to Spags to them. Yeah, he just comes on that like little delay blitz. But
Yeah, that was a hell of a job by Spags. I felt like towards the second half, he just kind of, they didn't have no interest for what Spags was doing. And then they tried to get conservative. Once you get in the second and longs and third and longs with Spags, it's pretty much over with. And I just love how we didn't let them get comfortable, even after they made that 10-minute drive and they got on the board. One thing that I kind of talked about this already in the spaces, is just like Spags being able to make those play-to-play adjustments or position-to adjustments. A lot of coordinators don't have the ability to, have those type of adjustments within possessions. So the fact that he's able to communicate it to the guys are able to execute it within that moment. As soon as they get back out on the field, man, it's just underrated stuff right there. Spags does a good job at changing the picture, and then I guess I've never seen him do this lost in communication thing, because it looks like they're honestly lost, and then everybody goes straight to where they're supposed to. So it is a little confusing. I don't think.
What makes it perfect is you look at the breakdown. So if you see the safety come up right there, slide up, you know it's a quarterback blitz. But he acts like he doesn't know what he's doing. So Reed comes up to kind of start pointing like, hey, you're right here, which puts him in position for Roland Wallace to blitz, him to drop over into the slot, and they don't even know it's coming. It completely disguised the quarterback blitz because Reed made it look like he was trying to tell Wallace what to do, which allowed him to slide into position without them even knowing that he was coming down for the quarterback to blitz.
Again,
That's
and
chess
again,
right there.
and again, Charles O'Menihue doing his job the right way. The loop underneath allows for you to keep CJ Stroud contained to this pocket, not allowing him to step up. Chris Jones beats his man, and it is literally 3 red jerseys in CJ Stroud's face by the end of this play.
So and is that a hold on Dana over there, SC?
Yeah, shout out to George and Dana for really committing to moving that line.
Mike Dana is really one of the most underrated guys on the defense.
Iron Mike. Yeah, the loop underneath by Menahue keeps the contain. George does a really good job trying to beat the double team, and then just kind of staying put in his rush lane as well too. because there's literally no place after that for CJ to go. Like I don't know where he was. He was either gonna run into Charles Omenihu or he's gonna run into George Karlaftis. Either one. So these guys, you can tell defensive line, they're locked in. You can literally see that
Shout out to Joe
everything.
Cullen.
Yeah, everything is coming together. Spags and Cullen are definitely cooking it up, and I definitely expect to see more going into the Sunday night this week.
Definitely.
And then, I'm sorry, Corey, you keep going.
I was saying, just some of the schemes that Spags comes up with is absolutely ridiculous if you look at the breakdown on it. Not just that one, but the one that we looked at earlier. They brought Hicks, Reed, and Bolton on a blitz and dropped Wharton back in coverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, he brings blitzes from places you don't expect it from. Like, you've got a cornerback that's sitting there looking confused. All of a sudden, he's blitzing, and the safety that was trying to show him where to go is now in that slot corner. And the quarterback's just sitting there like, okay, he's there now. He's there now. Oh, shit, he's coming from that side.
Yeah.
All of the misdirection he brings and the eye candy from one side just to bring pressure from the other, you don't ever see that from very many other defensive coordinators.
Mm-hmm. It's insane.
He's a Hall of Famer. That defensive coordinator, man. What he's done to this defense ever since he's shown up. Brought continuity, brought a level of attention to detail, and maybe it did take a while for it to finally stick with this team over the years. But for what he's done, what he's drilled into the minds of these guys, man, it's just awesome to see. But of course, we got to talk about Mr. Washed, a guy that his best years were behind him. A guy that was focused on his retirement than being on the field. Guy that has no speed or ability. Overrated. Get this guy off my screen because he's on commercials too much. I'm talking about number 87. A guy, Travis Kelce, who we were told not just had the worst season of his career, but is not going to be an effective playoff performer. We're going to start off with this play right here in the first quarter or second quarter by number 87.
Yep, the
This
pistol formation. Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead, Trey. We've seen this design before.
Yeah, man. This is Andy Reid classic right here. So we see this formation in tight, short yardage situations. Sometimes we had a guy lined up in the wing T spot. Sometimes he's pistol like that. You see where Gray is. So that's kind of giving you an indication that we might do some type of zone scheme. What I love about this play is watch Travis Kelce at the snap. And this is what gets him wide open. And this is just why he's one of the fucking best to ever do it. So you come with the play action. Pause it right there. Go back a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. Now watch Kelce come off the ball. Watch his first two steps. Look like he's blocking right past him. And then what makes it crazy is since they think he's so good that he knew where his man was. He knew to fake the block, and his man is just going to take us off of him. His man is right here in the slot coming up. All white. Wrong two steps, ball gone. Kelce not even looking, man. Like, we back to that, and people think that this is just a joke. Like, this is some type of facade.
Yeah.
He's behind Jerry Rice for a reason. This is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. But
that's not even the route that he was supposed to run.
This is why it's important for everybody on this team to do their job. Make sure they're doing what they need to take care of. Xavier Worthy clears out the space, and if you go to the sideline, you'll be able to see it a lot better. But a lot of people trying to tell me Xavier Worthy wasn't going to be able to play in this league and be effective. And this is one of the main reasons why he's going to have a long, sustainable career in this league. and especially
You
because
could
he does
hear
things like
DG
this.
grit his teeth as he says this.
But yeah, you get the clear out by Xavier Worthy. Obviously, they're afraid of his speed. You see, that's why he has two guys over him, a safety and a corner, as well. And that's what ultimately creates this space underneath for Travis Kelce to operate. I also love the fact that sometimes the best way to neutralize a good pass rush is to get the pocket moving, to get kind of out there already on the perimeter. And this is something we all know Pat is really good at throwing off platform, throwing off, certain weird angles and things like that. It's kind of sometimes where his best throws come from. And I think, Andy and them recognize that a lot. And they give him just, a couple options to out here. You get the flat out to Noah Gray, which obviously he can go down to if he wanted to, and probably get a couple yards. But once you see Kelce win on his route, that's obviously your first option to kind of go to. You get a big explosive play down the field, chunk play,
hell of a play call, man.
and yeah, it's something we've seen before. They've ran it against Buffalo last year in the playoffs, and I thought they brought it back out at the right time this time around. So they're gonna. I think this week they're gonna try to do this, and the Bills may recognize it, and they'll run out of it, and they'll probably pick up a big gain out of it.
Or they'll hit Xavier Worthy over the top.
Yeah, just because
Because
the
because
safeties.
the Bills will have a little bit better knack for where Travis Kelce will be, but I just don't think. I mean, even if they're linebacker like Matt, and this is one thing I gotta say, bro. This is not 2020. Matt Milano is not that same guy. There's no way he's better than everybody on one of our linebackers in our linebacking core. Y'all serious?
You've been in spaces.
I can't wait till Sunday, dog. Y'all niggas have lost your minds.
And obviously, the play of
every linebacker.
the offensive play of the game, other than the
This
touchdown.
nigga been back for 4 games, man. I can't believe this, man. All right, man. I can't wait, dog. It's gonna be a good one. But man, that's a classic play call from Andy right there, man. That I love that pistol formation. I love how they use Kelce. And this is just, you know what play this is? Go back, go back, go back. You know what play they got this from? This is Juju Smith-Schuster against San Fran a couple years ago
Hmm.
when he popped the middle of the field instead of Juju going there as Kelsey.
Hmm.
Um, total blown coverage, first of all. Like, Houston was pretty good in coverage all day, but this is just a complete lapse. And this is stuff like this is just why. Boom, you see the blitz coming. Nobody picks with no. I mean, nobody goes with and Kelsey finds open grass. He doesn't keep running. What does he do? Sit down, put foot on the grass. One more.
Yep.
Get out of there, A7.
Yep.
Like, come
Was
on,
that
man. Like, this kid is
wait,
35, man. Like, what do y'all want from me?
was that the sure-handed Al Azir or whatever his name was that just whiffed on that tackle on Kelsey?
Yeah, it was him for sure,
Yeah.
and he was
The,
very out of position
the
on this.
Texans fan anointed. I mean, the fan anointed All Pro Al Shazier, guys.
Bro, that is the
Yeah,
fastest I've seen Pacheco move in a minute. Watch him coming out trying to get out there in front of Kelsey.
right.
Yeah, he didn't think Kelsey was gonna break that last
No,
tackle.
Yeah, he takes
No,
off.
no.
that boy running.
Right.
I thought he was
Nah.
gonna score for a minute, but I was like, nah, he ain't got the wheels no
Just
more.
look at how wide open. As soon as
Well,
just at this pause right here when he's about to
I
catch the
don't know what
ball.
covers the Texans are in right now. Like,
it's
what is
sing,
Al?
it's single high. It's single.
Is it man to
Like
man?
yeah, it's like a man zone.
Man's on man. Okay.
Yeah, it's because it's zone in the middle with the linebackers.
Well, and that's
Um,
why I think I don't think that they whiffed on the coverage. I just think that safety, that's his responsibility. He should have been like banging up a little bit more. But if you come up like that, then Travis Kelsey probably just would have kept running
he
down the seam.
look that safety ain't coming up there. You want to know why? You got 4-2 on each side. He
Yeah.
ain't coming up there. He not. That's the reason why Travis Kelsey was so butt booty naked open because that safety. Look how far he is. Off
Almost 15 yards away.
Yes, and that's just really the
I
reason.
just I just think this passing game gonna be open against Buffalo, bro.
Yeah. But
I'm not
also
being.
on this play, I think Noah does a good job of holding the linebackers of going
Yeah,
out
he
to the flat.
does. And
Um,
then
he didn't really
look at the
had
hustle
another
from
option.
Noah. Look at the hustle from Noah. Get
Mhm.
down there, Noah.
Mhm.
We ain't extend you for nothing. You better be on film, son.
Mhm.
Man, that's a
Yeah.
hell of a play. I mean, it's a hell of a play call from Andy Reid. Not sure if he knew that they was just gonna totally leave Travis Kelsey open like that, but we'll definitely take it. But the yards after the catch, they don't teach that in school, ladies and gentlemen. They don't show you that at your local doctor.
No,
Okay? You have to be
not at
born
all.
with that. You have to be born with that. All right. And A7, according to y'all, he ain't got it. But to us, we know what's coming. We know what's coming. We know what's coming. I'm sorry, I got to get all my words out since I missed like an hour.
You good?
No, you're good, dog. And then obviously the play of the game. And this isn't just a great play by Kelsey. This is just Mahomes doing Mahomes things.
Yeah, if we win on Sunday, that play is going to be like on ESPN for like the next 2 weeks easily.
Yeah. Obviously third and long in the red zone. Obviously, you gotta score here. I think at this point in time we were only up one. Field goal
Mhm.
really doesn't help you. But yeah, just good. Another great. I would like to say play design, but it's not. Um, Honestly, this is just 15 and Travis Kelsey being themselves and being great in moments where we need them to be great. Pat buying himself some time, obviously climbing the pocket, and then just the awareness to make a throw like that from that platform
It's
uh,
crazy,
in
dog.
that small of a window. And it's a risky play. And he said that after the game, he says it was a little bit risky because he said he was a little nervous that it wasn't going to get through that window. But obviously, it just put enough on it to get it there. And great recognition by Trav because initially the first window that he goes to is kind of closed. And he ends up continue to work knowing that, Pat is going to try to do his thing to buy some time and then gets to that second window and gets open and it's touchdown, man. And then you get the infamous stare down after that. So, just goes to show you how great those guys are, that they're on the same wavelength. And when it gets to January football, man, they both turn it on and change into completely different players.
Now, I will say for this game coming up, we will need to see a little bit better production from D Hop in Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I just think that, again, I think that those corners are you got all pro Stingley, and then you got Lasser who's playing well. The defense was kind of beating off the ball a little bit, with those edges and those corners.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to run the offense, to push the ball down the field. I thought we had a great game plan for it. And then I just like what I think I kind of heard just Ted Bruschi say that just the Chiefs being able to win the games that they are in and not the games that they thought it would be. That's a big statement right there. Just the Chiefs have seen them win in so many different facets that people think they're cheating or people think they have luck. When you're just able to pull out football games and find ways to win, no matter if it's from defense or if it's from a blocked field goal, or if it's from Pat executing late, or maybe it's a block picked up late, or just the little things, But boom, you step up in the pocket, get him pulled down, man, bro. That's ridiculous, dog.
Yeah.
I don't even have no words for that play. Like, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, man.
That's just 15 being 15, man, being the best in the business. I don't care about your regular season shenanigans, all right? When it's time to ball, there's nobody in the league better. Not a quarterback, not a receiver, not a running back, not a defensive player. Maybe Chris Jones, but he plays for the Chiefs. Hello? Are y'all all right?
But wait, who is that dove for that ball and missed again? Number 0.
The
Wait,
Texans,
Out of
the
place
Texans,
again.
the
who's that out
Texan
of place again?
fans out of place again.
Out
The
of place.
Texans anointed all pro.
God damn, I've watched 3 plays, and 2 of the plays he's out of position, but he's
Mr.
all
Alsh.
pro.
I haven't even got through all the Texans fans bookmarks. I just didn't have time for it no more, and I realized.
But
Yeah,
guys, why didn't he get the flag for the taunting? What? Zay Flowers did the exact same thing and got a flag.
Look, I think for the refs, they were marveling at the fact that Pat was able to actually get that throw off. So I think at that
That's
point,
ridiculous,
you know,
dog.
I think at some point, man, sometimes you gotta understand. I think refs become fans too, and they just watching the game at some point.
Look at
It's
number
like,
21. Go back, go
That's what
back.
it was like.
Hey, go back, go back. 21 was like, what? Watch 21.
yeah, we've seen many of defenders over the years from that Patrick Mahomes has made them do that same gesture over and over again. So
That's
it's just them being on the same page, man, and understanding the situation and knowing what needs to happen. It's kind of to me like what was it 2 years ago when we played the Jags and Pat had that pass to
the
MVS
jumping
in the back,
pass.
yeah,
Yeah, I
the
remember
back
that.
of the
Yeah,
end zone.
yeah, that
Um,
was in the divisional round too.
yeah,
Yeah,
man, they just know when they know when it needs to be done. They know when to go get it, man. And
yeah.
he found his guy at that point. So shout out to them too, man. They're great for a reason.
Now,
Yeah.
I will say
Okay.
this might be a game to where some of those receivers and running backs need to be a little bit more prepared for the off script. Last game, a big part of our third down success is Mahomes scrambling when he needs to. And Buffalo did a really good job at keeping him beyond the line of scrimmage and not letting him run.
Yeah, we
But
didn't have a left tackle that game either. So
what that opens up though is some of those backyard football plays, like we saw it last postseason. I think it was with Clyde, where he did that little. He's about to go down. Oh, he does the little old man hook shot over the defender to Clyde running down the sideline. Um, a lot of that's going to be open. Some of that backyard football. And I've noticed we haven't been as good about it this year with players moving with Mahomes while he's scrambling. I think we're going to need some of that this game with some of that backyard football. Mahomes rolling out, rolling around. They need some of those receivers dragging back across the field to give them options.
Yeah,
yeah, that's Patrick Mahomes just as a player, but I just don't think that. I think we'll be able to be on time with a lot of stuff this week. I don't. I think Texans, when you got guys who are 10 plus in sacks and those two corners, you really like just disrupt a lot of stuff that offenses want to do. I don't. I think that Buffalo has a good defensive line, but I don't think it's to the stature of the Texans. I don't think that every single play they're going to be pressing down like the Texans was. And we were able to move the ball against them. I haven't seen a team that's able to stop us moving the ball. My only concern comes with turnovers. As long as we don't turn the ball and we keep 15 clean, I think the defense is playing well enough to make things difficult for Josh Allen, and he's going to make things difficult for us, no doubt about it. But I mean, I expect a great one on Sunday, man. It's the Chiefs. The Bills at Arrowhead. Chiefs walking on this thing. We got Bills, we got Chiefs. Let's go, man. It's that time of the year again.
Sorry, I wouldn't be remiss to talk about how lucky our special teams was against the Broncos. It couldn't possibly happen again at all. Same guy, same exact result. Special
yeah,
teams. I love Tobe's reaction when they
yeah,
get the ball.
yeah.
Fantastic play as always.
Justin Reed kind of spoke about the long snapper. I guess they've had the same long snapper since he was there, or at one point in time, I think when he was there, that he kind of was familiar with that guy and knew kind of cadence and when they like to snap it. So you can kind of clearly see he's off the ball before anybody else really even moves. I know some people thought when he was offsides. I say bullshit. He was he just timed the snap really well. A lot of great edge rushers in this league do it as well too. Um, and it's just about having studying film, studying where to be. But if you go and watch the mic'd up version, Leo says to George before this play happens, "If we block this, we win." So that lets you know the mentality already of what they were gonna do from Jump Street, and I just think it's just relentless effort, man. When you got guys like those, and man, those guys, George Karlaftis and Leo Chanel are maniacs, man.
Yeah, they really are.
And I think they play the game in that way. They give relentless effort, and that's all it takes sometimes. We see a lot of guys on extra points and field goals kind of take this down off because it's just kind of an automatic kind of thing. And you see people kind of half rush to to there or whatever. I think every time George Colossus and Leo is out there, they want to block it every time.
What's funny is at the stadium, they actually announced Justin Reed's the one that blocked it, and if you watch it, he got out so fast it looked like he did, but it got under his arms. Mm-hmm. Nobody in the stands even knew it was Leo that got it. We all thought it was Justin Reed.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I knew it was Leo. I seen it. I tweeted it. I said Leo motherfucking Chanel.
Yeah. Yeah, just being relentless, man. Having that effort, and that goes a long way. Playing all the way through the whistle.
Yeah, he's a dog, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Leo, man. Hopefully, if he has a good game, I think he'll do a little bit of sparring on Josh too. We could get 5'4". The way that he plays, man, he plays like he's 6'4", 300, man. Like he plays like a dog. And just his mentality, he don't really care who's out there. He don't care about what you've done in this league. He just going out there to execute his job, man. So good to have a player like Leo. I'm more than excited for those two on Sunday, man. I know they're gonna have a big impact.
100%, 100%. And obviously we've been talking kind of about the keys to the Bills game this Sunday, the 7th annual Arrowhead Invitational in Arrowhead. The last time these guys face each other in Arrowhead Stadium, 2021, the epic 13-second game. A lot of history between these two teams. 3-0 in the playoffs for Mahomes and the Chiefs against the Bills. And I think the intriguing part is that there's motivation to both sides. Obviously, with the Bills, the motivation is, can we get this monkey off our back? Fun fact, and I'll talk about this real quick before we kind of dive in a little bit to y'all's opinions. But in the history of matchups where quarterbacks kind of dominate the other, so like Troy Aikman's 3-0 against Brett Favre, Elway is 3-0 against the former Browns quarterback that I forget.
Kozar?
Kozar. Tom Brady over Phillip Rivers. There's never been a quarterback in NFL postseason history to be 4-0 against another quarterback. Let that sink in. Mm-hmm. That's never happened. And when it looks like
it wasn't playing yet.
Very true, Trizzy. But if we think about the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning comp a lot, but Brady was only up 2-0. Peyton Manning won the rest of it. So if anything, this is a huge game for Josh to get the monkey off the shoulder. The other thing is on the Chiefs side, this is the one true loss that the Chiefs have had all year. Yep. And they had a kind of a vanilla game plan against the Bills in Orchard Park. And I think the motivation is no one is talking about the historical context of the Chiefs winning a three-peat. That's secondary at this point. It's about the refs. It's about the over-publicity of Kansas City. It's the Taylor Swift shit. It's the Caitlin Clark shit. It's all these distractions that are taking away from, hey, maybe this team's a really good team, the best situational team in the entire league. And maybe, in the future, we're going to look back at this era of Chiefs football and be like, man, why, as NFL fans, do we take this for granted? Because they don't have cheating scandals. They're playing with fun. They may not be as exciting as they once were, but they're getting the job done. They're wholesome people. That's the main difference between that Brady Belichick era where they're literally caught cheating and they're fucking disgruntled. I saw tweets about how, man, Gronk and Edelman were so lovable in the day when they were playing with Tom Brady.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
That was the second time around. That was the second dynasty. And I think people have that. People only remember certain parts of the Patriots. Everybody forgets about early 2000s Patriots. The Spygate stuff, videotaping, things of that nature. Everybody kind of forgets that because now On the back end of Brady's career, you won 3 more rings. And I will admit that team, I do believe as a team, they did it a lot better in a lot better way than that previous early 2000s team did. And I still
For sure.
think the early 2000s teams to me were dominant. I think they were way more dominant than
Especially
those
those
later.
defenses.
Yeah,
Especially those defenses.
you know. So uh a lot of it what it is and going into I didn't think we were going to talk about this, but it's fatigue, man.
Hmm.
When you win so much, people get fatigued. And it happens to all of us, you know. We got tired of seeing Bama win championship after championship after championship. But then at some point, as a fan, I think you just have to come to grips that like they're just that good. You know?
Isn't this the same thing that we heard last year, though?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't everybody make it out that the Bills were some dominant team and there's no way Kansas City could go into Orchard Park and beat that Buffalo team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now they saying there's no way that we gonna win at home.
I mean, at some point, yeah, I understand that they've got that monkey on their back, but that monkey's grown into a gorilla, and we're like their playoff kryptonite. So to me, the pressure's more on them. I don't know why everybody is so confident that they are going to steamroll us because they've been saying that for the last 2 years, but that monkey on their back just keeps growing.
A lot of times I don't think it's confidence. I just think, like I said, I think it's fatigue, and you just want to see somebody else.
It's also like at some point they have to lose to the Bills.
Yeah,
And I think it's just them thinking to themselves that this has to be the year.
You thought that you thought that would, like I said, the back end of Patriots dynasty, you thought that with Tom in them, but at a certain point, like when they
I
were
hated
down
the Patriots.
28 to 3 to the Falcons, you can't sit here and tell me that half the country didn't think that they were cooked.
They weren't. They were all popping bottles. The end of the Patriots dynasty.
It was over. Super Bowl over. Falcons are gonna win it. Matt Ryan's gonna be Super Bowl MVP. Yada yada yada. Pop the champagne, and lo and behold, Brady and them make the most historic comeback in Super Bowl history ever.
Crazy.
But it just goes to show you that like great teams, bro, they're great for a reason. They figure out a way to win when everything is stacked up against them. Right. And the Chiefs, especially over these last 2 years, have proven to you that when things are stacked up against them, when everybody's doubting them, when everybody's hating on them or saying this or saying that, they go out there on the field and they beat teams consistently and win championships. You know, it's just it comes a point in time where you, as a opposing fan, I think you have to just tell yourself like, we're just fatigued and we're tired of seeing this team. You know, and that's okay. I can live with that. As a fan of this team, I can live with that because I understand it. It's a lot when one team is winning consistently year after year after year after year.
100%, man. So when Trizzy gets back, I'll ask him this, but Corey, for this game specifically, who do you think are going to be the X factors that need to play their best game in order to ensure that we get to our 3rd straight Super Bowl and our 5th Super Bowl in 7 years?
Patrick Mahomes.
I'd have to say Mahomes. I think the Bills are going to do what they can to try to eliminate Kelsey. So I think either Hollywood, D-Hop, or a combination of those two and Worthy are going to have big games. Hunt's going to have a big role in the second half in our secondary. I think our secondary is key, especially with Allen going off script, being able to collapse and tackle him when he scrambles and limit his yardage. Going on those off script plays, I don't know how many times we've seen Allen roll out, juke around, dance in the pocket, roll to the outside. As soon as he gets to the sideline, he launches it 50 yards downfield, and somehow somebody's broken coverage. Our secondary is going to have to play probably the best game that they've played all season, and that's not just McDuffie. It's going to take Watson, probably a bigger dose of Hicks to be able to cover some of those faster receivers. To me, it's going to be the receiving core and the secondary. They've got to both have solid games for us to win.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but from my notion, 7 straight AFC championships you got here because you picked up a guy named Patrick Mahomes and you assembled a team around him. So the people around him need to be great, no doubt about it, but he needs to be great. All right, this is what we bank on. This is what we do. That's what he does. It's been no different any other year, and it can't change this year. All those other guys come in and play and make plays, absolutely. But we need 15 to be 15 if we want to walk out of Arrowhead and go compete for our 3rd straight Super Bowl, along with Chris Jones. I need a big 3 to show up. Him, Trav, Kelsey. Those 3 get us going. The whole team is going.
Yeah, I think it alludes to what Corey said earlier. I think you're going to need more production from your receivers this go around. You know, I I think I just think that just because I think you'll have more opportunities this go around to have more production from your receivers. I think Xavier, Hollywood, those guys to me, and Hollywood's a guy you didn't have the last go around when you faced the Bills. But to have that speed on the outside, and like I said, I think that the Bills safeties can be had in this matchup. I think that there will be some chances for some explosive plays down the field, just because I don't think that it's a very good matchup for them. And that's not speaking no disrespect to those guys in their defensive backfield or anything like that. But I just think that it's going to be tough to keep up with the speed of keeping up with 2-4-2 guys this time around instead of 1-4-2 guy. And you've seen what the success that Xavier Worthy had in Orchard Park when we went up there. Obviously, he's matured a lot more since then as well too. Became a lot more involved in the offense, a lot better player, a lot better awareness on the field since then. So I think that you'll have some chances for some shots down the field, and if you can get some explosive plays and make that crowd in Arrowhead start going crazy, yeah, we can get real spooky real soon for Buffalo.
I think if it's not the big 3, I think a couple. There's like probably 2 or 3 players that I think are going to be the keys to the game. One is I think Jaden Hicks is going to play a role in this game. He's obviously played a lot more snaps recently and has been fantastic, not just as a ball hawk, but being able to make tackles when there's runners in the open field as the last line of defense in order for someone to break out. Like that last run that Josh Allen had against us on 4th and 2. I know he wasn't out there. I think he makes a difference to make sure that something like that doesn't happen, or at least limits it to not being a touchdown. I think another guy that's going to have to play huge, in my opinion, is DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I keep harping back to D-Hop because I know how much of a great wide receiver he is. And though he was limited last week, you saw on some of the tape that he was open, but Mahomes just found Kelsey wide open. Just Mahomes found the better open targets. Like he's still getting open. Like if you watch the film, like that first Kelsey completion for 24 yards that we talked about, that was the Andy Reid special. If you look on that, if Kelsey wasn't open, D-Hop was wide open in the middle. Like I think he's gonna have to be huge. And then I know we haven't really talked about it because he played pretty clean. Harrison Butker's got to make some big kicks.
Yeah.
And I know he's kind of been shaky since he's come back. But when it comes to the playoffs and the postseason, that guy is just as important as what Adam Vinatieri was to that Patriots dynasty in the beginning. Like he is clutch. He makes the kicks when they happen. And I think Butker is going to be huge for us. So hopefully the offense will put him in good situations for him to execute the way we know he can. There's a reason why he's the butt kicker. But before we talk maybe preview the NFC Championship game, talk a little bit about that and the possible Super Bowl matchup that we might have. I thought we could go by some of the numbers between Allen and Mahomes and just some of the interesting facts about it. Obviously, Mahomes is 3-0 against Allen in the playoffs, but he has a 75% completion percentage in those 3 games, a 126 passer rating, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 337 total yards. Like, he is literally against Allen, one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in the postseason. That includes the 2020 AFC Championship game, the epic 2021 divisional, and last year's divisional playoff game. So when it comes to Mahomes and Allen in the postseason, Mahomes is clean, doesn't make mistakes, and gets the job done. And if you look on the other side, Allen's kind of up there with him. He only has 1 giveaway, 9 total touchdowns as well, averages a little bit more yards, but his passer rating goes down just a hair. He's a hair under 100. So it's going to be I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it ends up being like closer to a 27-23 to a 27-24 kind of victory for either side. I have the Chiefs winning 27-23 personally.
What you got at this, Corey?
I will go 30-24 Kansas City. Don't know why. I just had a feeling the Chiefs are going to win.
I've been waiting for that 30-point game, boy. Y'all been fiending for that 30-point game.
It's going to be a nail biter. Heck, make it even fun. 30-24, tie game, 2 seconds left. Mahomes throw a 60-yard Hail Mary just to fill their dreams again. They'll forget all about 13 seconds.
God.
It'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think they can get their hearts ripped out like that. I think I'll stick with the same score I said last night on our other pod, 27-23 Chiefs. I think the Chiefs come up with a late turnover in the game that seals the deal and sends them to New Orleans.
What about you,
Tristan?
Oh, shit.
I think he's froze.
Is he frozen?
Either that or he's thinking real hard about what the score is gonna be.
Yeah, I think he froze.
But man, I just think what this season means for both teams. I think it's gonna be exciting drama. Yep. This is game of the year. Yep. It's always game of the year when it comes to these two. And the Bills just better cover tight ends because that last game, man, Isaiah Likely and I know Mark Andrews didn't have the best game, but he was getting wide open too.
He was open.
Don't let Noah Gray cook, bro.
He may have turned over the ball, but he was definitely open. Yeah, they definitely left a lot of yards out there on the field, especially guarding against him. But yeah, I agree. This is a game, Travis Kelce and Noah Gray. No disrespect to the Bills linebackers or anything like that, but I think this is a decent matchup this week going up against those guys in there. So.
Have you thought of a score, Trizzy?
Got to unmute, but
oh, you're muted.
Sorry, man, my phone died.
You good?
I've been looking at it, and I just think as long as I think it'll be a close game. I do have us by 3, 27-24 Chiefs. Could be 27-21. Could get ugly. But, these teams know each other pretty well. It's January football. This is for a trip to go to the Super Bowl, man. The teams are going to leave it on the line. Us, versus the Bills, man, is going to be one of those classics. But inevitable, man, 15 to me is just, he's just inevitable, man. There's no denying him. Even when you want to, even when it's just a little bit of left and you just want to close the door, he just finds a way to shoot it open, man. And I just think that, I do think that, unlike last year, I do think that Mahomes is going to have to do the end of the game stuff again. I don't think it comes down to the defense like last year.
Yeah.
I think that the defense makes plays. If we turn Josh over, I will say this: if we turn Josh Allen over one time, start your engines to NOLA, baby. All right,
Yeah.
start your engines.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I want to take that that video I tagged y'all in when the dude, what's the dude from King of Queens, Doug from King of Queens.
Hmm.
He's like, God bless our troops, God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engines. 'Cause that's how I'm feeling like right now, baby. AFC Championship.
Yeah.
Again, look at me.
Yeah.
Buffalo. It's a good run. It's a great
Yeah, man.
year. Nothing
Right.
to be down about. Matt Milano's better than the whole team, right? Let's see.
NFC title game.
Yo, Commanders versus Eagles divisional matchup. They went 1-1. The second game, Jalen Hurts got injured in the first quarter. So,
He's injured
but
right now.
Jaden Daniels, man, playing like
That kid
he's
is veteran.
playing.
But I got the Eagles, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I got Commanders with the points. I don't know if they end up winning, but I think it's gonna be closer than a lot of people think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be close.
Here's the
If
thing.
Jaden got the ball last, the Eagles are in trouble. I will say that.
I think the Commanders can win. The thing for
I do
me is
too.
going to be limiting Saquon. If they
Yeah.
can hold Saquon to under 100 yards, I think the Commanders win the game.
Well, that almost didn't stop the Eagles from fumbling the bag last week, and Saquon had 205 yards.
Yeah. No.
I ain't gonna say they got lucky last week. I don't call it luck, but somebody was holding their teddy bear tight, all right, because the defense. That's like the third time I've seen like a quarterback just drop on them at the end of the game and do what they wanted to do. Not sure about that first or overall or what's the EPA numbers that you guys love to bring up. I'm not sure how that defense is gonna hold up with Jaden with that ball. Uh, the kid is he's kind of like mystical. Like I don't even know a role for him. Like Jaden, you know who he played like? Me. He plays like me, all right?
Here's the thing. If besides those two big runs, I think he had 150 yards on 2 runs. Besides that,
Interesting.
yeah, he only had like another 50 yards the whole game.
Yeah.
So if they
They
can
was getting
eliminate the big
the Rams
runs,
is making it tough, man. That Jared Verse kid, that kid is a monster. So they got two really good interior guys right there that did not play. I don't think one of them played last time, so we'll see. It's going.
This
Hey, a
kid got
divisional matchup to go to the
injured in
Super
the game,
Bowl.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see a divisional matchup for a Super Bowl chance.
Um. Right now, I'll take the Eagles. No disrespect to the Commanders or anything. I think it's gonna be a close game. I do think Jaden and them can keep it a close game, and possibly have a chance to win if they have the ball last. I'm with Trizzy. That honestly, if that kid has the ball last and with some time to go, if I'm an Eagles fan, I'd be nervous because he's done it before, and there's no, I don't think he's gonna feel pressured not to be able to do it again. So,
Man, I ain't
but
never seen no rookie play this so
yeah,
cool, calm, collected like that, man.
I do give the Eagles the edge. Just the simple fact, I think that Saquon Barkley, in my opinion, is gonna be the best player on the field on Sunday during the day.
And
And
if he's not, the Eagles are losing.
yeah, if he's not, yeah. I think if Saquon doesn't have a great game, then I could see things getting a little bit dicey for the Eagles. But if he puts up the same performance that he put up last week, it's going to be a long day for the
Yeah,
Commanders.
I'm going to go against
Commanders.
y'all, and I'm going to go 27-24 Commanders.
Oh, okay.
Win it on a field goal. Jaden drives them down about the 30-yard line with 5 seconds
It wouldn't
left.
shock me. It would
It
not
would
shock
shock
me.
me.
It wouldn't shock me either.
I don't think
I
the
think
Eagles
it's
are world beaters.
no. I'm sorry, Trizzy.
No, you good. I was done.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Eagles, but I think it's gonna be way more high scoring than that. I know the Eagles defense is pretty good, but they're a little susceptible every now and then. I think it's gonna be I think it could be a 34-31 kind of game. So I'll give Eagles with a field goal. But that's not what matters. What matters is the Arrowhead Invitational on Sunday. Get ready to hear a lot of Tony Romo glazing, Josh Allen. But the most important part is you're going to see some fireworks at the end of the night. Confetti. The Lamar Hunt Trophy coming back to Kansas City for a third
That's
straight
what we
time.
need, baby. Let's go, man.
And us going down to Nolans, getting some po' boys, some beignets, some crawfish etouffee. And we're going to be feasting on whoever's on the other side.
Right.
Yeah, you see it.
Let the good times roll, huh?
You see it. You see it.
Any last words, Trizzy? Trizzy, you're kind of like the motivational speaker at the end of these episodes. You got anything for the kingdom?
Chiefs Kingdom, I'll leave you with this. There was a knight, there was a guard, there's a horse. We have all fucking three of them.
Amen.
So just get ready for a fucking invitational. They're looking like, what is he talking about? To the people who don't understand, it's not meant for you to understand, baby. But
I'm really laughing because I thought he was really going somewhere really like deep and
And then he was just like, nope, we got them.
and we got all three of them.
we got all three
All
of
right.
them. All right.
Boom. Mic drop.
All right.
Mic drop. But man, hold on to your seats, Kansas City. If there's a person next to you on Sunday without Chiefs gear, you wake up and you go to your local gas station, no Chiefs gear, criticize. Hatred. Bring back hate. You're in Kansas City and you're not rooting for the Chiefs. I might punch you. I might punch you. Okay? Nah, seriously though. I'll leave y'all.
Hey,
with
I
this.
got something along those lines too. I'm a season ticket member. I pay attention to all the seats around me. If I see you sold your seat to a Bills fans, I'm punching you dead between the legs next season when I see you.
Please don't say his tickets, man. Go to the game, please.
But nah, seriously though, KC, man, that's a lot on the line. It's probably one of the biggest games since the back-to-back. Since the Super Bowl, I would say that we've been in as an organization. 7 straight AFC championships, with Super Bowls to match multiple. But the guys went on a journey last year, man, and they was told a lot of things. They told they couldn't do it. They was told the team wasn't good enough. You seen them go on a run. Year after year, this team has been tested mentally, physically, emotionally, and every year they answer the bell. I know that this game won't be easy, but we have the guys to come out on top. Think about what Travis Kelce, all these guys, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, those guys that been here from the jump. And you can go out and kind of find in this run a play that they both, all three, all four, all five guys made. Whether they came in 2021, 2020, 2022, these guys have contributed majorly to the Chiefs. And asking all these guys to come in and be a part of this organization, man, is just a testament to the coaches, man. So Sunday, just my eyes is on Andy Reid. I just want to attack. We just should think attack Sunday. That's it. Let's go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. You can check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you're not on the live stream. Make sure to follow Trizzy. Make sure to follow DG. Make sure to follow Corey.
Especially if you're single, ladies.
Make sure to follow Ethan. I know he had to step down for a
Need
bit.
me somebody to celebrate this Super Bowl appearance with. Hello?
Angela.
Hello? Kicker voice. Shout out to Kicker, man.
Hello?
But guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week, and we're gonna see you in New Orleans. See you, Chiefs.
Let's go, baby. Let's get it done.
I put it all on my shoulders. Give 100 till it's over. I told you.